Hi everyone, my name is Kristen Albert and I'm going to be talking about the Warnack Ranch Western Joshua Tree Reintroduction and Land Restoration Plan. This is an advanced mitigation site. It's in LA County, California. It's owned by TerraGen, which is a renewable energy power producer, but it's managed by Transition Habitat Conservancy, or THC. This is a conservation group and land trust and an accredited member of the Land Trust Alliance. They work to protect and improve land in the West Mojave Desert. The purpose of the plan is part of a conservation strategy in which TerraGen is working to offset their development impacts across their portfolio in the Western Mojave Desert. It's adjacent to LA County designated sensitive ecological areas, which further supports its inclusion in future mitigation efforts. It has the appropriate infrastructure like access roads, wells, the aqueduct runs right through it to support Western Joshua Tree translocations and management efforts. As of 2023, the Western Joshua Tree is a candidate species with the state of California, which provides it with the same protection as an endangered species. It's projected to reach extreme difficulties due to warming temperatures, drought, invasive plants, and severe fires. So this land currently serves as a mitigation site and provides a critical connection from THC's Portal Ridge Reserve. That's over in the west of the Warnack property, which is right in the middle there, that blue point, to the Arthur B. Ripley Desert Woodland, which is managed by the state parks, up to the north of that, and then the California Poppy Reserve over to the west. So this Warnack property falls right in the middle, and just underneath it you can see where that California aqueduct runs. The purpose of the plan kind of depends on who you ask. For TerraGen, it's something that checks a box for their offsetting their impacts. For Transition Habitat Conservancy, they are really working to restore the land, so that'll kind of be the focus of this project. So Transition Habitat's objective is to protect wildlife and its habitat. Again, the landowner is TerraGen. It's managed by THC. The THC owns a lot of significant areas, and then this area in particular provides that continuity between multiple pieces of property. They want to create healthier soil, improve air quality, and then create habitat for wildlife. It's a mitigation land for Swainson's hawks, burrowing owls, and Western Joshua trees for TerraGen. Those are the three main species that they're kind of on the hook for, and three of the main species that THC is trying to preserve. Here's a map of the property. Up in the top right, you can see where in California it is, and then the blue and the orange combined is the Warnack property. The blue area to the north is the focal area where the Joshua trees will be translocated to. The bottom left is a soil map. It's coarse sandy loam. It's a combination of Hanford, Greenfield, and Ramona. So in this point where I had clicked, where you can see the Warnack property, it's primarily Hanford, but then if you click over a little bit in any direction within that focal property still, or that focal area, it might be primarily Greenfield or Ramona, and Hanford is more of a minor soil composition. And then the bottom right is a vegetation map, and that shows that this focal area is primarily annual grassland, and you can see it a little bit better in this photo down here, that bottom right one, where that aqueduct runs underneath, where the Joshua trees will be translocated to, but kind of still right through that Warnack property. The description of the property, again, it's LA County, California, West Mojave Desert. It's 1,800 acres adjacent to THC's Portal Ridge Reserve, as well as other mitigation sites. Provides that critical connection. It was likely a former agricultural land where Western Joshua trees persisted prior to their removal. It was clear cut primarily for alfalfa, I think, and other ag purposes. The northern portion of the site is largely comprised of non-native grassland and transitioning agricultural fields, and the southern portion is less disturbed as it transitions to gray pine and oaks as the elevation increases. These are some of the plants and animals that I saw out there. I tried to keep track of everything, but this is by no means a comprehensive list of everything that's out there. But there was a lot that I did see in the surveys that I was doing, and it's a really diverse habitat. There's a lot of wash areas and desert plants, and then the pine and all different animals. The plants in red are the big invasive ones that they are trying to manage: thistle, mustard, and brome. The budget, some of the things that they're taking into consideration are fence repairs and added fencing, signages, prescribed burns, manual removal of invasives, sheep grazing, cattle grazing, and a fee simple land purchase. So when I spoke with the land steward in our interview, I thought maybe it was a conservation easement. He wasn't exactly sure, and I feel like the preserve manager at one point when I was out there serving had mentioned a fee simple land purchase. So I've reached out to the preserve manager to see if I could get a little information about that, and I'm still waiting to hear back from him. Schedule of management activities. I also don't have a ton of information on that yet. I'm waiting to hear back again from the preserve manager. The Joshua Tree translocation began just this past May. There's going to be an arborist watering them every 2 weeks for the next 3 years. And then after that, THC is responsible for keeping track of their progress and success rate. If they do need continued watering, then THC will be in charge of those management activities. Some management recommendations. I'll start with the Joshua trees because that's one of the real big ones. THC is at the forefront of a relatively new field of study, which is this restoration of western Joshua tree habitat. Again, they were just barely not even listed yet, I think still just a candidate species. So they've been working closely with partners to develop methodology to care for and restore Joshua tree woodland. Some of their techniques that were included in and around their permits include removal of invasive plants from the understory, conducting pile burns of invasive vegetation, targeted sheep grazing, Joshua tree post-fire surveys, collecting seeds, storing them and growing them in greenhouses, and planting these seedlings in post-fire areas, as well as establishing populations in previous woodland cleared for agricultural purposes. They'll also be maintaining the berms, stabilization supports, and identification markers. Physical efforts, again, removing invasive species through various methods. Removing hunters. This was a really big one that the land steward stressed. Timing specific, beginning of hunting seasons. He said they'll be out there in full force, diligently monitoring in the beginning of the different seasons. They'll be putting up more signages and improving fences, repairing access roads and trail systems, working closely with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife, California State Parks, LA County, and other NGO nonprofits, and education and funding to bring awareness to the public. This is a big effort that requires a lot of money and a lot of education. It's kind of hard to see in this picture, but there was a film crew that came out when I was working out there. They were taking pictures and recording, and I think they'll be using that for just bringing awareness to this purpose. And lastly, for management recommendations, surveys, and monitoring, I can't stress this one enough. The Swainson's hawks, they want to outfit more hawks with transmitters in order to better understand their movements, population, and migration patterns to conserve this land for them. Burrowing owls, again, surveys, photographs, counting nests and young, surveying for ground squirrel populations. These burrowing owls use the ground squirrel burrows. They want to improve the ground squirrel health. I think they're also a food source for them. There's a lot of illegal mulch dumping in the area, so they will be working to take care of that because that monopolizes available lands and reduces the burrow availability for the owls. These are just a few of the things that we saw. There's a nest in a Joshua tree. This is a den that we saw. I'm not sure what made it. And then out walking just lines and surveying for different species and things that might help with the management activities. Measures of success. The invasive plants and fast-growing annuals in this area have depleted the soil nutrients. with nitrogen in particular. And then in the past, water was over pumped for the ag purposes on the land. So all of this led to reduced nutritional value of the soil, air quality issues, and fire issues. They'll be doing surveys, monitoring, and testing for this. This was when I was out there working. You can see in this bottom left picture where they're translocating the Joshua trees, and then a fire broke out maybe a mile to the north of us. And this bottom right picture, there was a helicopter. There were a couple of them, actually. I think they were going to the aqueduct and getting water and then going and dumping it over the fire. They kept going back and forth. So fires in this area are a very real issue. Another measure of success, the Joshua trees. It'll take time to determine if the Joshua tree translocation has been successful. There were 113 trees that were translocated. There'll be lots of maintenance and monitoring, site visits, watering, recording the tree health, post-relocation reporting, and annual maintenance reports. I think they look really pretty, so I included that picture there. And then this bottom right picture is a shrike kill on a Joshua tree. If you don't know what a shrike is, they're these beautiful little songbirds that impale their prey on different sharp objects and just kind of cache it there for later. But I don't see them that often. I think going out and surveying and seeing this kind of stuff, you can tell when the biodiversity will be changing and improving. That's a big one, I think, a measure of success out here is seeing those changes in biodiversity. I want to thank Transition Habitat Conservancy for helping me so much with this and answering my questions while I was out there. Wesley Skelton was the land steward that I spoke with, and Vern Beal is the preserve manager. I'm waiting to hear back from him again about some more questions so I can add more to my management plan. I look forward to hearing what all of you have to add, what your feedback is so that I can improve this. Thank you for watching.